Nikki, it's nice to virtually meet you. How you doing? I love those cards behind you, by the way.
Thank you. They're always behind me when I do my things. It's my little backdrop forever and ever, but thank you.
It's really cool. I like it.
Well,
Congratulations on Crescent City. It's a fun thriller that really takes you on a bunch of different paths of the who done it, who is it, and we got a kind of the office. Yeah, everyone has their guns drawn at each other a little bit. So I don't want to ruin too much of it by talking too much about uh plot points and things like that because that would take the fun out of it. But tell us a little bit about Jacqueline.
well, Jacqueline, I think, she comes from quite a painful past. And so I think that sort of drives her to make the decisions that she chooses to make throughout this story. And some of them aren't always great. I do think she deep down has a good heart and she's in pain. So, she is trying to do the right thing, and she's conflicted between her personal life and her work. And I think, so it bleeds through and she overlaps everything and makes a mess of it, but without giving too much away. It's a journey of, sort of who's who's doing what, and it is really hard to talk about without giving away the storyline, but that's the fun. Is playing these characters, and they would be discussions that we would have. How much do we want to give away in this scene? So when maybe if you go back and watch it a second time, you're like, knew it right there. Those moments where like, so I hope there's a couple of them where if you go back and ever watch it again, that you will find and be like, that, see, something was off there. We even talked about it. We did different takes with different looks with each other as options. So just to see if people would pick it up or not.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I was speaking with RJ yesterday about it, and he's telling me how at some point he really just became an audience member as well, less than a director, just watching you guys work. Tell me about the chemistry between you and Terrence and SIE because you're all playing kind of these characters who are dealing with a lot, and I think that's part of the mystery behind it is how you guys are dealing with it personally, but also it's not great when you're dealing with other people who are dealing with their own set of darkness.
Yeah, and Jacqueline sort of shows up where she doesn't really, no one really wants her there, especially two guys that have got their own system that's running. And then she pops in. The third dynamic always kind of like does something weird to the energy, and she's a woman and she's sort of stepping in. And it sort of throws the two guys off. And the both guys have such big personalities and so much trauma themselves. So it makes lots of delicious room for crazy things to happen, and everyone to sort of fight for their position and show who they are. And then you've got Alec, our boss, that comes in, who's a total boss and really sort of, I mean, he's just his energy alone throws us all off. It was fantastic. It was so good. He plays such a great captain. We're all like, whoop, so it's the only time in the movie when we're shooting when we're all like this because everyone's so naughty and poorly behaved. But when we're in that office, like really well behaved. It was actually quite funny. There was one scene where one day where I kept stumbling my lines walking into the office because I was genuinely scared. I got so into it. I was like, oh, I was so flustered. Super dramatic, very funny, but yeah, we all had a good laugh about it that day.
Sounds like you guys almost had a good chemistry together. Um, Tell me what it was like working with with this. You guys are all great at what you do, and so what does that do for a film like this that really requires you guys to be really in tune with your characters?
Well, obviously, I know Esai. He's a really good friend of mine outside of this movie. Before this movie, I've known him and his family forever. So, getting to work with someone that Esai is such a phenomenal actor. And now I'm getting to work with my buddy as well, and his character's like a like Esai does a whole thing with his characters. Like he's very clever, and you know how he is. So, that's fascinating to watch, and he kind of gets on my nerves in the movie, which is so funny. So, and then you've got Terrence, who I obviously had never met or worked with before, and he Terrence is a genius. I mean, and you think about these men's careers, they all have incredibly huge careers and have been around forever. They're old school, they're very good at what they do, they're brilliant. So you get a hint of who they are in their characters, and then there's something else they've created. So throwing your character into that with everyone's personalities and choices. And this was one where the three of us had such great banter. You know what I mean? Like, I think Esai and Terrence should have their own show. The two of them together are amazing. I really, really have unbelievable chemistry. Just that because I would watch them doing their scenes together, be roaring with laughter, you know, before and after takes, and there's a really good chemistry with everyone on this. It was great.
It would have been a really fun thing to be a spectator from the side of the sets to watch you guys work. I can't imagine how great it was. I do want to ask you, how do you prepare yourself for a role like this with someone who's carrying so much baggage, and then also who's dealing with so much, and a character who has to really get a little bit more intense as the film progresses, because that's kind of what the mystery, the thrill of it, of the delivery of the film's going to need.
Well, we don't get a lot of prep time when we're shooting. We don't shoot it in order of how the movie is shown. So, you know, we can be shooting some of the most traumatic scenes in the first couple of days without even going on the journey yet. And that in itself is quite a challenge, because after you've been in a character for a couple of weeks, you really do get to know them and you start understanding how they would choose. But when you come in on the first 2 days and you're shooting half the end of the movie, it's really challenging because you want to deliver something very authentic, that comes from an experience that you felt. So you have to you have these discussions with the actors and with RJ about where would we really be by now, and we haven't even shot the other stuff yet. It's a weird way to shoot. I wish in a dream world we would shoot, movies would do that, but very rarely that's the case. So I also like to know a lot about the choices I would make, but until you're sort of sitting on set, for me anyway, and sort of with the other people, and I know my character, I'm pretty aware of what she's like and what she doesn't like and things, but then being able to sort of magically bring it together with the other guys and see how they're going to do stuff and then bounce off their reactions. And some of the magic happens when you don't over prepare too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, your natural reactions as you get to know your character.
Within the boundaries of the storyline and stuff. So and with guys like that, you will always get, every take is sort of this magic, no idea what's coming. Kind of it's like working with comedians. They're cracking different jokes all the time. You don't know what's coming at you. So all of it is really lovely. And then to sort of get the natural reactions of what Jacqueline would have done in those cases and stuff. So it's a really fun process. It really is.
And that's what your director RJ means by becoming a spectator, by watching you guys work. It's a real testament really to your talent and to the level of degree of your work. That's amazing that you can shoot like that and bring a character to life. Nikki, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me, and congratulations on the movie. And I hope to hear from you again.
Thank you, love. You too. Thanks so much.